Hi there. Today I'd like to visit a little bit about the Dicamba application system and Dicamba tolerant soybeans for 2019 and go over a few of the new regulations that we're going to be dealing with for this application season, which is coming up on us very quickly. I'm Brad Rudin, Agronomy Tech Services Manager for Agtegra Cooperative, coming to you from my office today out at our Bath Agronomy location. So let's take a look at this 2019 season in the Dicamba application. First of all, realize that for in-crop Dicamba applications to Dicamba-tolerant soybeans, there are 3 registered herbicides. Those are Ingenia from BASF, Extendamax from Bayer, and Fexapan from what is now Corteva. And these are the same 3 products that we have used in the past, and they are the only ones that are registered for in-crop use. You can use other Dicamba products as a burn down, but if you do that, you need to be following all of the application restrictions and the planting intervals that are on that label for the product that you're using. In crop and with a 0 pre-plant interval, the only ones we can use are Ingenia, Extendamax, or Fexapan. Also, be sure that you as an applicator have attended a Dicamba certification meeting for 2019. If you didn't get a chance to attend one of the in-person meetings that were held over these last couple months, there's still an opportunity to become certified for this year. You need to do this every year, and you can still do those by some online modules through the application websites that were shown on those particular graphics. Go to those websites. They are your main resource for each of those particular herbicides and giving you all of the application requirements that are there. So let's take a look at some of the regulations that are involved with application and what hasn't changed and what has changed. If we go to one of the graphics, the things that have not changed on the application are things like our nozzles, our ground speed, wind speed still is 3 to 10 miles an hour is our application window. The websites are still there for tank mixtures and additives, and we need to refer to those for each particular product. Weed height is still recommended to be very small, 4 inches or less for best control, and do not apply in inversion conditions. Those things haven't changed. Now, what has changed and what are some of the biggest issues for growers this year? One of the biggest issues this year is there's been some additional restrictions in the re-registration of these products on timing of application. For soybeans, we can apply these Dicamba products either pre-emergence or only up to 45 days after emergence, or prior to R1, prior to first flowering, whichever of those comes first. Now, South and North Dakota have added an additional state requirement that says no applications can take place after June 30th. So for those 3 restrictions, either 45 days after planting, prior to first bloom, or June 30th, whichever one of those restrictions comes first, that's our last application date that we can apply these products. The other big change for this year that will affect our application window is that applications are only allowed during the daytime now, from 1 hour after sunrise to 2 hours before sunset. This includes the restrictions based on when we know that inversions are very, very common out in our fields. And that's one of the concerns that EPA had, so this additional restriction of daytime applications 1 hour after sunrise to 2 hours before sunset has been put in place. Another couple of restrictions or a couple changes that are a little bit different is that in our sensitive areas, when we have to leave a downwind buffer, that 110-foot buffer is still in place, but we can count roadsides. Since most of our roadsides are maintained roadsides, we can use those in our buffer calculation this year. That's something that's nice, and it's a nice regulation to have in there. And the other thing is on the rainfall. There has been a change. Last year we were restricted to be able to say if there was any rainfall within the next 24 hours, we were not allowed to apply the Dicamba during that particular time. Now they've changed that to say only kicks into place if that rainfall is going to cause runoff. So if you're on a drier condition and we're going to get a light rainfall several hours after application, it isn't going to cause any runoff, then we're still okay to be able to apply during that window. The last thing that's important for growers to understand is there are some record-keeping requirements. Planting date is now part of the application record and must be included. The buffer zones must also be included on there. And there are some restrictions around if you're in counties that have endangered species, plant species. There's some additional buffer zones. That kind of restriction does not apply in South and North Dakota because to date, according to the EPA map, we do not have any counties that have these restricted plant species. So those are the main things for growers to be concerned with for this year. Those are the big changes on the labels. Remember, measuring wind speed is required as well. Measure that wind speed before and after you do your application, and do that at boom height. We have some recommendations for how to be able to meet those requirements, how to best be able to do that. If you'll look online at agtegra.com, we'll have some reference material there that you'll be able to take a look at. So again, look at the Ingenia, the XtendiMax, the Fexapan application websites to be sure you're following all of the regulations and getting that particular herbicide applied in the best manner that we possibly can to our crops in 2019. Thank you, and have a very safe spring.